Indeed, thank you very much, Bernard Okumu, for that update on what is happening in the sporting arena. And now we shift focus to what matters that are quite current, given the latest floods update there that indicated over 228 persons had so far confirmed dead owing to the ongoing floods, while 72 individuals are still missing. So quick question is, how do we remain safe amid those floods? And our guest tonight is none other than Commissioner Disaster Operations at St. John's Ambulance, that is Lucy Murumbi, to take us through this conversation. Thank you very much for making time.
Thank you for having me, Regina.
Now, the statistics are there.
Yes.
And we know that humanitarian organizations as well as government have people on ground, experts on ground, to try and, alleviate or rather mitigate on the impact of the ongoing floods. As one of the organizations that is already on ground, what is your assessment of the situation?
First of all, I must say we quite commend what the government is doing. On the ground, the camps that have been set up, they are quite enough. We have seen the response, especially on the multi-agency response, which is quite good. Having visited, like yesterday, we were in Manyara. We can see that the general atmosphere is that the government is supporting, and we are sure that as the camps are closing, the people are actually receiving the help that they need. Mm-hmm. Every mitigation measure that the government has decided to do is actually ongoing. Mm. Yeah, so as an organization, ours is to support the government, because St. John's Ambulance is actually just a government reserve mandated by the government to actually make sure that the community safety is key. Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Now, does this qualify to be a national disaster? Government is yet to refer to it as such, but from an expert point of view?
Unless the government declares it that, for now we are responding, and what we are making sure that every person that is accounted for is actually getting the support that they need, especially on the wellness, which is very important. So because the government has not yet declared it as national disaster, it means that we are able to mitigate, and actually we are prepared to counter anything that would happen. Yeah.
What about awareness? Are citizens aware of where to seek help and how to go about it?
Yes, we've seen communication has been coming in. National Disaster Operations Center is actually been populating the numbers that we need to call. We have also the National Disaster Management Unit that's been supporting ourselves, running campaigns in the media. The Nairobi County has been doing that. The Ministry of Health has been doing that. So in terms of communication, this is happening on the ground. So what I know is sometimes we can be negligible in not reading or listening to what the experts are saying. So what I can just say is we need to ensure that we are listening to the call out, especially knowing that the water flooding could happen, flash floods are happening. So let's listen to the news, let's hear what the government is saying, let's hear what the experts are saying, and ensure that we are walking right as citizens, yes.
Some days ago, the government issued an evacuation order and actually started implementing that. As an organization working and supporting the government in these particular measures, have you met any resistance, or what are the major challenges that you are, getting to experience as you are working on ground? Okay,
I must say yesterday we were the responding team at Kwaruben. Actually, we arrived there just when the first call came in. We were at Manyara, so what our team did, we actually moved to Kwaruben. What I must say is that on the ground, this is inevitable. Moving away from the the riverbed where they built is actually needed. Why do we say this? Because the way the waters are rushing in, the currents are very high. Most of the losses have actually occurred on the housing that actually has been on the riverbed. So on the ground, I know it may look like the government is a bit hard, but the loss of life staying there is going to make it worse. So what I know is proper measures have been made on moving the teams out. I know the National Police is actually supporting the teams to move away. There might be changes. I know people get used to living in one area, but I know the changes will be key in ensuring that the communities are safe. Right now, there's a bit of animosity trying to see where do I live, where do I go, but eventually it is for the good of the people who are living in these areas. Yes.
Now, Lucy, I'd want us to look at possible scenarios, and since we've been asking our audience, you know, to raise issues and questions on what they need to know when it comes to matter safety, because this is a core agenda for tonight's conversation, keeping people safe. Let's take a look at possible scenarios. Motorists, what are the do's and don'ts? I'm imagining you're driving, for example, last week on Sunday on Thika Road, it was flooded. The street lights were off. There was no prior communication. So motorists were just driving through, and there you are. The vehicle starts taking in water. What do you do?
First thing first, hashtag turn around, don't drown. Why do I say that? If you see the waters at a level whereby immediately you see the first car, you see the waters have reached the tires, your instincts will tell you, I don't know how far. What we usually do as drivers, you wait to see how deep is this car going to go. So what normally happens is you'll wait. If the lorry goes, then I, having the small car, will think it's safe for me to go. But water levels, as long as it's entered your car, that tells you, that's the first telltale sign. You should actually be telling yourself, where I'm going in, I don't know how deep that water is. So that's why I said, turn around, please don't drown. Yeah, move away, wait until the water subsides, or find an alternative area. Every communication that's being given, you're being told, if you find waters, please don't rush in. Little water, especially, can actually float a car. 1 foot can actually make a car float. So the main thing is move away from any waters, especially current flowing water. What happened on Thika Road, that was actually, what can I say? It was actually alarming to see the water levels.
Yes.
And seeing passengers and buses trying to ferry people in. Your safety comes first. Even if you don't reach home, what does that mean? Is that the people know that you're on the other side. So you better be safe, arrive home tomorrow, than wade through the water, and then next thing we hear that you're no more. Yeah.
Well, quite scary, because
Yes.
I was part of the motorists who just went, and that was totally unexpected.
Okay.
But then there was no chance to turn around.
Okay.
There was no chance to turn around. And then the question is, there's been talk and conversation that you need to keep your engine running, that you should not switch off your engine.
Switching off the engine, switching on, as long as water gets in, the engine will definitely go off.
Okay.
So the most important thing is you get out. If you see the waters, I'd rather you stand on top of your car on a higher ground. Try move away and ensure that you're not in the flow of water. That's very, very key. Very, very key. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is good to know. Now, other case scenario, we're looking at what happened on the Manyara stretch. I don't know if the land just gave off. We'd call it a mudslide.
Yes.
I mean, what would you do in such a situation?
Unfortunately, it happened at night. Most of the people were sleeping. So most of the people, I believe, that have passed away are the people who, because it's on the middle of the night.
Yes.
But if you're awake, the first thing first is ensure you see where is the flow of the water. Can you see, go on higher ground, move away from where the currents are flowing in, ensure that you can be able to stand wherever you're standing. What has happened in Manyara is very, it was something nobody was expecting, yeah? But I believe that any area, as long as there's a dam, try and understand what are the demographics, what are people saying about that area, so that you're not buying maybe land somewhere that you already know that could happen, because I believe on the same stretch something like that has happened a few years back. But the main thing is yourself, when you wake up, get out. Yeah. How do you get out? Look for the safest area where the flow of water is not going. You see, don't go towards the current. Yeah. Try and make sure that at all times you are away from the flow of water. And And then, because what normally happens at times, you want to carry your things.
Yes.
So immediately open the door, yeah?
And just step out.
And just step out.
That would be quite, we're looking at that because then you preempted my next question is that those who find themselves, you wake up one morning or in the middle of the night, yes, your house is flooding.
Yes.
It's either flooded or flooding.
Yeah.
The risks there. Now let's look at the risks.
Okay. Risk one, the doors could be jammed because of the water flow. What you need to ensure is, can you be able to get out? How do you get out? Open the door, the one that you can. Try and stay on higher ground in your house. Do you step on the table? If the water now starts flowing too much, you can feel the water, you need to get out of that house. Yeah. But before that, I always say you've got to be prepared. I know emergency readiness is something that sometimes we never look at. Yeah?
We never even...
You never imagine that you could actually even have a life vest.
Actually, on a very light note, and I know this doesn't... during the 2019 census, yes, there was a question in the census survey that asked us as Kenyans, do you own a boat? Yes. And I know I'm saying this, it's not the right thing to say at this point, but there was that question. But we never look at, you know, emergency readiness, or rather readiness on an individual capacity. Yes. So what do I need? First thing first, you've got to ensure you have key first aid kit. A first aid
Very
kit.
important. What else do you have? A torch. Make sure you have enough water supply in your house. Make sure that you have a packed bag whereby you'll have change of clothing, dry clothing. If you're 2, 3 in the family, ensure that you have enough package for them. At the clothing, you also have like gumboots for wading on water. You've got to make sure that you have a raincoat, something to make sure you keep dry. And then I always call it an emergency pack. Yeah? Torches is very key because you will need to see where you're going. So if you can have this emergency pack in your home, safety pack, we call it a flight kit. That would be very, very important for you. Yes. But I think a majority of us will be thinking, where is my ID? Where are my certificates? Where are my cell phones and such? That also goes into the kit. Yeah. Make sure that whatever documents that need to, you always have in any emergency. You need to know where your documents are. So if you can be able to have this prepared in early time, I know these are some of the things that we teach in St. John's. What is it that is key? Ensuring that you have your emergency tools with you. Emergency tools, this is some of them. Yeah, because I know documentation is very key. It's very key. Yeah. Now, we're in this house, it's flooding or flooded, and I can't access the door. I can't find my way out. And on top of that, I have electricity. The risk of electrocution. Yes. How do I go about that? The meter box usually is on the outside. We always have one inside the house. Okay. There's always an off switch. So locate the main switch. Yeah, locate the main switch, switch it off. Make sure that any wirings, unplug them. Because you see the flow of electricity could still be there. Unplug everything from your sockets. Yes. And ensure that everything that is supposed to be off is off. Yeah. Okay. Now, another situation we are looking at is the issue of mudslides, especially on our main roads. Unconfirmed reports right now indicate that a majority of Kenyans are stuck on the Narok Mai road. It has been cut off. That is what we're hearing. There's a mudslide there, so they can't cross either way. It's not the first time that we're having that kind of occurrence in that area. But then, how can I survive that, or what should I do to remain safe in such a situation? Like I said, I still come back to my tag, turn around. Please don't drown. If I can't turn around? If you can't turn around, meaning why I say turn around is move away from that area. If you're caught on one side, yes, and you don't really need to go on the other side. If it is work, just call your bosses. If it is your family, let them know, assure them that you're okay. Because if the road is impassable, is not possible to pass, there's been a caving, there's no point of risking your lives. Yeah. If it is public transport, they're transporting passengers, you'd rather be on one side and wait for any alternative road to be opened. Yes. So whom do you call in such a situation? National Disaster Operations Center. That is key. That has been circulated. Of course, the number, I believe all of us have it. We can have it again. We can have it on our... 0800 721571. That's the National Disaster Operations Center. Take it again. 0800 721571. 71. Yes. Is this toll free? I believe it is, yes. Yeah.
We've not tried it. We'll try it in the course of the show to just try and confirm that is actually going through.
Yes.
And as I'm on call, what do I need? What information should I relay to the person who's going to answer that?
Most important, you've got to give your exact location. Where you're at. You've got to make sure you tell them what is the incident. You've got to tell them what you require for them to come with. The other thing, you've got to ensure that you tell them what exactly you require to them to come with. If it is a mudslide, what do they come with? Do they come with a truck to get the people out? Do you need to, water to be removed from the area? So at the end of the day, whatever message that you're laying, you've got to make sure that you tell them the number of pile-up. Is it cars that have piled up? Yeah, so that when they're coming in, if it is the national police that's coming in, they're coming in with equipment. Do they need an ambulance? Are there people who have been injured? Yeah, so when you're given the exact location, nobody's going to, if you're going to say you're in Nairobi, you need to tell them exactly where. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Be specific on the scenario, and accurate information could save a life. That's what we're hearing.
Yes, and most important, you've also got to tell them what is the hazard.
Okay.
Yes, it could be that maybe there was a spillage of something, yeah, which would mean then the hazards are a bit different from what you're calling them to come with. So then you'll be able, from there when you call, either you can call us if you need the ambulance services or you need the community emergency response team to come in. Then from there, the deployment happens. Yes.
How do we handle panic? I mean,
most important, calm. I know first reaction.
Where does it come from?
Having responded to quite a number of incidences, disasters in the country, first thing first, I know I've always told my team, you've got to ensure that your safety comes first. Fast response, especially when you see a dead body, injured people, you see the first blood. Immediately, first thing any human being will do is going to panic. You're either going to shock or you try and narrate the story like a flow of information. So first thing first, you've got to go internally. Breathe in, breathe out. Ensure that you are aware of your circumstance. What is happening? Be in the present. Understand at the moment, because once you log out of your brain, then it means the panic will be more. So the most important is remain calm, breathe in, breathe out, speak to yourself if you have to. I tell myself, Lucy, you're good. This is just an incident, it's going to pass. There's flash floods, but you need to get out of here. So as you're speaking to yourself, that's almost like psychosocial support you're giving to yourself. It may not be quite immediate. You may not quite go through it, but at the end of it, you've got to see yourself getting out of that situation. Walk out, and on the other side, then you can see the disaster. Every incident, what you need to always remember is don't look back. Keep walking away from the incident. Then when you stop is when now you assess yourself and ask yourself, am I injured? If it is maybe somebody else who is injured, you've got to try and help them out.
Now let's talk about, as we unpack now help, we're talking about the risk right now. We're looking at the risk of drowning.
Yes.
If one finds themselves in a situation where they are the only individual there who can assist,
okay,
what do I do? What can't I do?
Okay. Yes. First thing first, you've got to ensure that you're able to support the patient or the casualty that you find. If somebody is drowning, the first thing first is to try as much as possible to resuscitate this person. It's called a CPR. Basics is you'll have to have mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And then the chest compressions.
How do we do that?
Chest compressions, you've got to make sure you stretch your hands. Make sure that you locate the center of the rib cage.
Okay.
Once you locate the center, then you do 30 of them. 30 compressions, yes.
Adult, child, 30?
30
Okay.
compressions. It's usually 2 mouth breaths and 30 compressions. Initially, it's in about a minute when you get to the person and you do the rescue breath. The first, second rescue breath, sometimes they will be able to cough out the liquids. Yeah. So once they cough out, make sure that you turn them towards the sides so that the water flows out. This might not be the first instincts of every person. Yeah. The first thing is usually, I've seen in incidents, they'll try and drag the person out, try and shake them. Yeah. Yeah, but you've got to remember that it is actually the reason why they have drowned is because there's no flow of oxygen in them. So it means everything is covered up, the esophagus, the nose. So what do? You've got to make sure that you clear the airways. Yes.
Would you advise, there's been conversation, I'm a swimmer, I'm okay, I can dive in and all that. Let's unpack that. Okay. You have the basics, or actually you're a pro swimmer, but then we're dealing with raging waters.
Okay. If you've never been a lifeguard, don't be a hero in life saving. As much as possible, if you cannot be able to reach the person, you always say that throw something in so that either a long rope, a floater or a stick, in order to be able for them to be able to pull it. If you're a good swimmer, if you're a lifeguard, then you've been trained for that. Okay. If you're just a swimmer, you've been swimming, the flow of the water is different, you're used to swimming in different circumstances. The main thing is you've got to have a pair buddy. Hold each other. I think you've seen that happening a lot. Yeah. You go in where your buddies, you hold each other and get into the water, try and get the person out. Yeah. As much as possible, we try to save lives. Ensure that whoever it is on the other side, we try and get them out. If you can't, the last resort is now swimming. Yeah.
But only if you have the requisite training, not just because you swim some in the ocean or the pool. Now, the Ministry of Health has also issued a health alert of a possible outbreak of waterborne diseases. So how do we also keep, other than just the risk of drowning, how do we remain safe in light of this development?
Okay, I know for sure that in this area sometimes the water can get contaminated. So what we are doing as St. John's Ambulance, we are sensitizing the public on that. From the community level, I know that sometimes, see, we have children in the camp. This is quite key. The children will be playing with things, they'll be holding things. If something falls in the dirty water, please don't put it back into your mouth. Ensure that you're cleaning. Ensure that clean bottled water or clean water that is being brought by the bowsers, they're doing that. Ensure that you have clean water at all times. In terms of your living conditions, I know that we visited one of the camps. Aeration is very key. Open the windows, ensure that they're breathing in. They're actually also leaving the compound, stretching to ensure that physically you're also fit, mentally you're fit. And at the end of it, everything that you're eating, I like what Nairobi County is doing, Dish in a county, that is very good because it's clean. So what we are doing, we are actually building community resilience in ensuring that they understand that they need to be cleaning up themselves and cleaning after themselves. The washroom, sanitation, visit the toilet, hand washing, the same way we were doing it at COVID. That is very key.
Now, psychosocial support for survivors as well as the first response team. Yes. Do you have programs?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have training programs that actually deal with that. We are privileged that we are an organization that has quite a number of support of volunteer doctors, nurses that are part of us. Our clinical guidelines are actually standardized by them. So the trainings that we do, we also have counselors ourselves, like I am trained in psychosocial first aid, whereby we are able to help the initial communities or people who are injured. For us as first responders, we go through a program whereby we detox in terms of what we go through. We've got to speak it out. We've got to go through this. Otherwise, it builds up, and eventually we end up with mental issues. In terms of the trainings that we do, we also train in the community. Our response in this year, what we've done is we're doing first aid mashinani. First aid mtaani in Nairobi, whereby we are actually door to door, because our key theme has always been one first aider in every household. So this way, we know that everyone who we have come across with, if they come across our trainings, we know that we leave a first aider in that home, we leave a trained personnel in that home, whether it's an ayah, we do that. We do trainings for them. So at the end of it, we know that every first aider, we've helped the community. So in terms of this whatever we've done. Yesterday we did about 3 of the 133 community members that we actually did psychosocial support. And you could see them. You could see that they were actually gaining courage in actually laughing in the camp, and which was quite good.
Very well. Now, as we're working up towards the end of this show, I know we can talk about so much. Let's look at the aftermath when it comes to building capacity. We're saying we learn every day. Yes. Every day is a learning, a learning opportunity. What would you say would be key lessons now that we find ourselves dealing with this situation?
Okay. I like the strategic plan that the government is doing, whereby we can actually benchmark and learn from other countries. This is new for us. We are used to disasters, but not flooding. And this is not just Kenya. We've seen that flooding is happening around the country. So what can we borrow? Ensure that our warning systems are good. Early warning systems are key, whereby we understand that at the end of it, when these warning systems are done, communicate on the press, make sure that you're calling out, and at the end of it, mitigation is going to be easier. So the budgetary line that we are having will be able to support this key readiness and key preparedness in the country.
Take home. Now we have 33 counties that are, receiving heavier than normal rains. I mean, to stay safe, take home, what do we need to know? What we need to know is
ensure that, okay, the affected already in camps. Those ones who are not affected, move away from the water areas, if you're living in the water areas. And then at the end of it, you just need to ensure that you are reading through, getting trained, like we are saying we are training, and at the end of it, your neighbor, your community, work together as Nyumba Kumi, work together to make sure that all of you are working with what the government policies are saying. Yeah.
I like that you mentioned your hashtag. Kindly let's take that hashtag once again, and also that call line.
Yeah.
We hope it's toll-free. Maybe we can take that again as we come to a close.
Okay, so we all are saying flood safety, turn around, don't drown.
Turn around, don't drown.
Don't drown.
Whatever you do, don't drown.
Yeah, don't drown. That's key, because we need you. Your safety is key. We need you as a people. So if you see flooded water, what do? Turn around so that you don't drown.
And if you can't turn around?
Make sure that you go on higher ground.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Toll-free number,
yes.
0800 721571. That is for NDOC. Our number, St. John's Ambulance, 0200 020 22 10,000.
22
10,000. Yes.
Thank you very much, Lucy Murumbi. That has been our guest tonight when you're talking about matters of safety, given the current situation that we find ourselves as a country, and the floods update there, as per government indicates that 228 lives have so far been lost. 72 people are still unaccounted for, thus calling you and I to be safe. And we're going to adopt that particular hashtag, is that turn around, don't drown. Don't be a hero. We need you. Your family needs you. Well, further details, I'm sure, are available on our website. That is KBC Channel 1, as well as St. John's there, as we try and live through these particular floods. And my take home actually is that I need to have a fly kit that needs to have a first aid kit, a torch, enough water supply, a change of clothes, probably a raincoat there, food supplies, and some gumboots. We can also take that home. I'm your host, Regina Manyara. My guest has been none other than Lucy Murumbi, who is the Commissioner of Disaster Operations at St. John's Ambulance. Have a safe and warm night.